I'm ballin', no. Squad cap to the top and calling up more. I said when I'm ballin', no. I'm ballin', no. I'm ballin', no.
Welcome to the first ever pre-recorded version of The Extra Yard. I am Kai and Juan. Joining me to my right is Luke Chaney, who appears to be frozen, and now he's back. And then below us is Juan Cardona. Boys, this has been a little bit of a mission to try to figure this out, but we are pre-recording. Everything seems to be working perfectly fine. How is everybody? And you know what? Luke, you seem to have a journey just to even be here tonight, so I want to pass it off to you first.
Yeah, I'm doing good. My roommate is waking up at 5 a.m. tomorrow, so could not record in my dorm. They didn't allow me to record in the quiet rooms in my lobby, so I had to trek across to the library, rent out the room, and we are here. We're good, we're chilling, and we're set.
You know who would have let you record?
Who?
The University of Florida.
I knew you were going to do that shit, bro. I just knew you were going to do that shit.
They would have. You know why? It's the best
Yeah, both took Miami right now.
broadcast and journalism school in the state. So, you know.
I didn't see them in the NCAA tournament.
You don't need to be when you're pumping out broadcast media and journalists.
Well, all right, Kai. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I'm here to
How
talk
are you
sports.
doing? Tua's #1 fan. How are you?
I'm great, bro. Actually, thank you for bringing that up. Tua, my lord.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, anyway. Sorry.
Nah, bro. I just, I'm happy for Tua. We've gotten him some talent.
Got him some help.
I'm not gonna say no excuses for Tua because I know that triggers people. But nah, we're living happy. A couple years ago we had Jakeem Grant as his wide receiver 2. Today we're waking up with Jalen Waddle as his wide receiver 2. So, shit's looking up, bro.
Do you I know we talked about it a little bit, but I mean, now that we've had some time to digest everything, do you guys think that this move, helps the Dolphins really, really submit themselves as a contender for the AFC East? Or do you think it really has to be like, we got to see that first game against Buffalo, and if they still can't pass Buffalo, then there's no helping anything? And I'll start with you there, Luke.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, just from a pure roster standpoint, the team looks great, or at least they should be much improved. Obviously, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But I mean, I think at the very least, this team will contend for a wild card spot. As hard as that will probably be. I mean, the AFC is elite. I mean, there's 12 teams, 12, 13 teams who could realistically contend for a playoff spot. And coming into the season, you can make an argument that the Bills right now are the best team in the AFC. I probably would have a #1. So we'll see
after
how
KC lost Tyreek for sure.
Yeah.
Nah, but that's
and,
not.
I mean,
people have been saying that's not a big deal. What are you talking about? Come on.
Oh no,
Juan.
because Casey made Pat Mahomes made Tyreek Hill. Or
yeah,
whatever.
he should retire, right, Juan?
Actually, he has already retired. Technically,
That's your favorite. Where did that? And sorry to cut you off there, Luke. How did you stumble upon listening to Skip Bayless and Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp?
Well,
saying that Tyreek is retired.
You know me, Kai. I don't listen to nobody but my own opinion.
Correct.
But people live and die off these people, which I find funny because it's like you're kind of spitting out what they're saying by saying, "Oh my God, look what they're saying." But I just stumbled upon the fact that he said Tyreek should be retired, and then he kind of pointed to Shannon and was like, "Yeah, you don't like Tua either now, right? And I just felt like it was like a high school cafeteria conversation where it was like, yeah, our quarterback can't throw 5 yards, and it's like, I don't get it anymore. Like,
That's
and you
crazy
know me, Kai.
how
I'm not
pro
one to
Shannon-
defend nobody, especially Mr. Tua Tagovailoa, but I don't know.
I think it's funny just considering how pro player Shannon Sharp is. Like, for him to be involved in a conversation like that, I think is funny. Which actually, and I know that this is going to go into a little bit of a rant, and we don't really have much planned for today's show, but this is going to go a little bit off the rails with this. It brings me to something that I was thinking about earlier with the Malcolm Jenkins retirement and how Ryan Clark was the person who kind of announced it. How do you guys feel about players now kind of going with other players who have retired to release their news. Obviously, like I think one of the biggest things this offseason in terms of reporting has been a big voice of how things have been reported. Of course, a lot of people got on Schefter's case for the Brady thing, especially after Schefter's already had a couple blunders. Andrew Luck is in one of those things. How do you feel about?
Darlington was part of that too. Let's
Yeah,
give him his credit too.
Yeah.
yeah. How do you guys feel? And Luke, since I did cut you off, I'll start it off with you here. Is like, how do you feel with players now trying to, I guess, boot out people like you who are trying to make it into journalism? Now they're trying to make it where if you didn't play, no game.
So what's the argument that
I mean, just like
people who didn't?
Well, let me add. I don't think they're kicking out Luke per se. If
Right.
you want me to be real, we're
They
kicking
will,
out a
though.
generation or two that's
Needs
past
to
their
go.
time. Yeah. I'm not saying we're gonna take them out back, like a dog, but like slowly we're gonna wean them out the house. They're gonna be an outside dog, and then eventually they'll get the hint and kind of pass away with time. But no, like to me, it's like if anything, I like it more when the players, especially the ex players, kind of come together and start to build something. Like House of Athletes, I think the concept was solid, execution, marketing, other
After about a year, it
extracurriculars.
became a little
Yeah, cash
yeah.
grabby, but I
Pivot
think
that exists. Pat McAfee
I,
show, that's one of them.
I was gonna say Pat McAfee's like the perfect example where like the dude's just having a blast and absolutely shredding it. Like bro, like ESPN sometimes can't even touch numbers that he's putting out on YouTube. So I think it's just like a culture shift and if anything, I feel like people like Luke and stuff like have more of a chance now because it's like, you know, I'm not gonna say the exact name. If you know, you know. But who the fuck wants to listen to Three Fists when you know Luke is out there in the mud with fucking the Hurricanes and shit, bro? Like, I'm sorry.
I hate that
If you know,
that
you know.
I hate that that's become
Yeah.
like the go to. That his name is Three Fists. That's such
I ain't say that.
a
I ain't say it.
no. I mean, hey, it is what it is. But I mean, so more. I guess like just how do you guys feel about like that sense of player empowerment? I mean, trying to get guys to that are kind of I guess dinosaurs in the industry move out and getting people who are more pro player and getting like obviously there's been a shift. If you watch the McAfee show, you would know that obviously they've been kind of dogging Ian Rappaport and a couple other reporters for how they report contracts. And it's true because I mean I think we've talked about it in the 5R Dolphins chat a lot where we'll see a contract come out and immediately me who saw him or Lewis or even Jacob will go in there and will immediately be like, oh, so it's actually this contract. It's not really this 5-year, $87 million deal. There's 40 million guaranteed. You get the annual numbers. It's really a 2-year deal, and then they have a cop out, and then it is what it is. Like, do you think that we have seen that like paramount shift, and you think that's for the better, or do you think that that maybe things are gonna kind of take a turn for the worse?
Well, I mean, I guess like to defend, I guess like the breaking news guys, like your Darlingtons, your Rappaports, your Schefters, I guess, like their room for error is so thin when it comes to
Facts.
releasing information, and they're forced to release this information out so quickly that they're bound to make mistakes. But I mean, at this, I actually just transition with like the players, the player side of things. I really love the dynamics, or usually the dynamics of talk shows whenever it's a like a player and then someone on the outside. I guess someone like me, for example, someone who's on the outside looking in. I tend to like the dynamics of those types of talk shows. The execution isn't always great. Thinking of Skip and Shannon, uh, I just like the
Ryan
dynamics
Clark
of
when he was a mainstay on ESPN wasn't that fantastic. In my
yeah.
opinion,
I
I
mean,
think there was a lot of ups and downs for him.
there's examples of former players who fit really well as analysts, such as I'm just trying to think. JJ Redick works. He's received a lot
Yo,
of
he's
praise
been
so
talking
far
a
with
lot of
what he's
shit.
done. He has. And they always tend to leave him to like the late night slots like Tim Legler, and it really pisses me off because like he's like they know what they're talking about. But there's some guys who I'm not gonna throw out a bunch of names, but just
No,
thinking of
throw out
some.
names. This isn't, as long as it doesn't affect anything too
Yeah.
crucial. Hey, listen, Luke, you make some friends, you're gonna make some enemies, my guy. You gotta throw out some names.
Yeah, I mean, one guy who has actually gotten better, but I was definitely more critical of him in the past is Kendrick Perkins. Um, I
I thought
think
I thought you were gonna go for like the kill shot, which was just Booger McFarland. Like,
no, no, no,
like
no. Oh, I did not think of that.
That's a
That
real kill
is
shot though. Like that's like a
because
devastating
I
kill
mean,
shot.
so,
good like
yeah,
we don't have to go into. I think we
bad.
all know like Monday Night Football was just
Hey, Monday Night Football is about to be like the best broadcast out there. Like that's gonna be some
until
fun.
until Bezos starts just dishing out,
Well, I mean,
money.
that should be a really good broadcast as well. But
Hmm.
Luke, finish your point. Sorry.
No, I mean it's just with former players, it tends to be hit or miss. Oftentimes, JJ Redick obviously a hit. Booger McFarland, fucking obviously a miss, and it's like, I, dude, I just like when there's a balance of outside looking in guys and former players because I do tend to see people criticize how there's so many former players with these filling up these time slots on ESPN and such, and how people argue that it takes slots away from those who spent their whole collegiate lives and early careers building up their reputation and building up their platform to be on such of an ESPN or Fox Sports or whatnot. But I just think that the point of view that these players bring is definitely beneficial. And if it was just talking heads who've never been inside of an NFL locker room or an NBA locker room or things of that such, it just wouldn't be the same.
Speaking of locker rooms, reporters are going to be back in NFL locker rooms. That was a major topic as well. You had a lot of blue check marks retweeting everything and very, very happy. I think that's another thing where you've seen some players kind of push back a little bit on it, especially. I mean, obviously McAfee is the biggest player show out there right now in terms of a former player who I think is just killing it beyond I think anyone would have thought. And they talked about it and referenced a lot of how, you know, and what you just mentioned, you're not going to really know what it feels like to come off of a big loss, to come off of a big win, unless you've been in that situation, you've been in that locker room. How do you feel? And I'll throw it to you, Juan, with reporters being able to be back in the locker rooms and being, I guess, in that motion where if Tua goes out there and throws a 3 interception game, you're gonna have Omar Kelly, you're gonna have Three Fists, you're gonna have all these guys going out there and sticking a camera in his face and asking him why the fuck he threw 3 picks. Like,
I think the players are gonna fucking hate it. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like not that they've had it good, because there's obviously some players that are really professional and honestly take their job very seriously. But there's others, especially the young guys, who haven't dealt with the media following a tough loss or following a bad game yet. Um,
2019 was the last time we saw it.
yeah, so I think there is going to be an adjustment period once again, um, because that is kind of like a private time now. I feel like for players, where after the game, you take your shower, you go chill in the locker room, you don't got to deal with nobody, and then you go and you walk out, and you kind of like you kind of turn into like, okay, I have to be to the press conference
Professional.
guy. Yeah, exactly. So I think now this time it's like, hey, you got a 10-15 minute shower, and then the gang is sliding through. Like, that's it. Like, they're coming, and you can be half dressed or you could be fully dressed. Like, they're gonna come through, and you better be prepared, because you know they're gonna ask you some tough questions.
Luke,
Yeah, I mean, I guess from like a media and like journalism perspective, I mean, it's
that's gonna be
a
you.
good thing. It's I mean, just like I guess for never being inside an NFL locker room. I mean, just the thought of it sounds cool, obviously, but I mean, from the point of view of the players, and from their perspective, they're not gonna like it. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, because one, you mentioned, I mean, it's their private time. It's their time to, I guess, not only physically but get mentally prepared to go out there on the presser and professionally answer the questions. But I mean, you mentioned they'll have what, like 10, 15 minutes before the gang pops up,
The
and
gang's all here.
the gang's all here, and they're forced to answer every question as professionally as possible, and if not, then they'll be ridiculed for it. So, I mean, just I guess from like I said, like a media perspective, I mean, it's fun. It's more fun, but just like you said, the players aren't gonna like it. It is what, especially the younger players, as you mentioned, because they're not used to that type of media coverage, because everything at the college level is media availabilities. There's communication directors who are very in charge of everything,
They're the
and the head
dictators,
coaches.
essentially.
Yeah, and I mean, like in with Miami, Manny Diaz made it to where each player had 3.5 minutes to talk. That was the thing. They had 3.5 minutes. Reporters can ask those questions for 3.5 minutes, and after that was a strict cutoff. So for some of these younger players, it's going to be a weird adjustment period, especially when you have these NFL beat reporters and beat writers just in your face at all times in the locker room.
Yeah, and I think to bring it on to like a lighter note, how do you think that this guy would have felt, especially considering that like after this type of game,
There's like a 2-layer question there, because like
of
it could
course
Yeah.
be
it's a
asking
come
me
on, you
about
know
Will
it's a
Smith,
2-layer question.
or it
You
could
know
be
it's a
about
2-layer question.
Jacoby. Which, by the way, we may have a Jacoby revenge game at. Is it Sun Life still? I don't even know what
It's Hard Rock. We went to a
Yeah,
game
bro.
this year, guy.
I once again I can neither confirm nor deny that I
Don't
was
make me go
mean.
find that video. It's somewhere in the stratosphere.
But
I'll bring it back up.
nah, please don't.
Mm.
Nah, but I think yeah, bro. I don't.
Like imagine after that game, this guy's sitting down, he's getting ready, and you go over there and you ask him,
Wait, that was the Raiders game?
yeah,
No, he's
You-
feeling good. He's feeling great. He's like, yo,
what?
I threw that pass to Will Fuller. I got the team 20-something
Bro,
points. Like,
come
he's
on.
chilling. He's vibing. What you mean, Kai? That was the one game you could say, like, if you want to go, if you want to go
Yeah, but
Indianapolis,
he threw the
if you want to go Tampa
he
Bay,
effectively lost the game
that's-
with throwing it to Jalen Waddle in the freaking end zone. In our own end zone.
no.
We lost all momentum at that point. Like
No,
imagine
that was
losing that game and he's in the locker room. Omar Kelly goes and asks him, "Why'd you throw? First of all, why'd you throw it higher than it needed to be in your own end zone to Jalen Waddle?"
Are you asking for a Juan answer or a Jacoby answer?
Either. Give me the professional Jacoby answer.
I followed what the play was called and designed to run. As you can see, Ahmed on the other side did the same thing.
All right. And what's
That's-
the
I
Juan
mean,
answer?
No. That's a professional answer. Juan answer would have been like, bro, I ain't draft. You see me?
Hey, listen, a lot of members of that staff are no longer members of the organization. I'm not saying to go in. I'm just saying it clears us of some wrongdoing. So,
Yeah. I'm more so curious, like if you really want me to tell you what I'm curious about is after a week 17, Tua performance, how that's gonna be handled. Because
you mean like so you're saying week 17 is in the Titans game? Because week 18 was
Titans
the
game, as in the
was
Bills
the game against
game.
the Patriots.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, the week 18 game was against the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about both week 17 games though.
Oh, but
last
you're
year
talking about
versus
the
the
one
Bills.
when we were still 16 game season, and then the one of the 17 game season. So you're talking about Bills in 2020, and then Titans in 2021.
Yeah,
Okay.
week 17. Either one of those games. Those are the games where that's the
especially
one that
after him and B Flow
Flores and all that bullshit.
That's something I thought about when asking the Jacoby question is like imagine how we used to get some of those like iconic things where players would talk about coaches, like you get like the Jalen Ramsey interview too and stuff like that in the locker room. Like imagine you're 0-5, your coach is on the hot seat. you lose a game and like your coach is yelling at you guys on the sideline, you come out and there's a reporter asking you a question. Like those are the times where you get those sound bites of like, man, fuck this guy. Like that's it type of situation.
I mean, I don't think Urban Meyer would have lasted as long as he did, and he didn't.
Oh,
even
for
last
sure.
that long.
Yo, Carson
No
Wentz's
shot.
reign in Indianapolis would have ended much quicker. Imagine them asking him in the locker room, "Hey, Carson, how do you sprain both of your ankles on one play?" Like, that's just not like.
Jeez, guy.
Think about that. Like that's a question that's gonna be asked. They're gonna come there and be like, "Carson, you sprained both your ankles on one play. How is that possible?" Like,
How is that physically, humanly possible?
it's just there's no way that is physically possible. But to get back on some Dolphin stuff, like, are we actually confident in what's happening? Well, I want to get into what Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer talked about at the owners meeting, and I guess also Bruce Arians lost to Tom Brady as well. Not that relates to the Dolphins pretty much, but I guess it does in a little bit with Mike McDaniel kind of saying "fuck you" to Tom Brady in the press conference.
Or Brady could have that yacht meeting he always wanted.
I'm just saying.
I mean, no, like there's not. I'm sorry.
Would you
but,
give it
like,
to him? Right. Okay.
but
So
there's not a
realistic
Tua-
question.
No, but I need to ask you guys a question. There's not a Tua stand alive that will say no to Tom Brady, right?
Oh no, there are. There absolutely are. I would like Tom Brady. I would take Tom Brady.
Listen,
but
bro, I'm not
there
trying to
are
call out specific
absolute-
names, but you're telling me like VBS.
Nah,
Come on.
VBS is on another level.
Like
He's,
I respect VBS. I love his tweets, but come on, you're gonna tell me he's gonna say nah.
I think he would say yeah to Brady.
I don't
No, he
think so.
wouldn't. No, he wouldn't.
The side
man,
of
you guys-
Dolphins Twitter, it really
You guys make
is
me crazy.
like Clump and everyone else, and then
It's like a
VBS
spectrum.
and everyone else. Yeah, there is a
Yeah.
spectrum. Then you have like
Literally.
the sorties mixed in the middle. You got Kev in the
Like the
middle. Like,
ghosts.
you got ghosts. Like you got them like in the middle. But then there's like the fuck Tua, anything but Tua, and then there's the everything including Tua. I mean,
Where would you
shit,
put me,
yo.
Kai?
And then
I would off of your Twitter or off of what I actually know of who you are. That's
Is
the
there-
question.
Is there a difference?
There is a huge difference. If I base it off of your Twitter and what
I'm a Twitter, I'm a
OnlyFins
Twitter.
thinks of you, you are on like you're above Clump in the hating of Tua.
No, stop.
But if I put you off of who I know of Juan Cardona, you're slap in the middle.
Stop. No, I am not that left or right. I don't know what spectrum.
Yes,
it
you
is,
are.
but-
You're like the Trumpies or the Bidens. Like you're on. You can flip on either side, bro. When
So
it-
wait, are the two stands the Bidens or the two stands the Trumps?
Dude, I don't even know because I don't know. Like it depends on. I don't want to get into too much politics, but like it depends on where you stand on the aisle. But they're both super. They're both super far right and super far left. That's for sure.
That's facts though.
I think the worst are the people who are on like the far sides who think that they're part of the middle, like who think that they're logical enough to
Damn,
be part
Luke.
of that
I mean,
middle.
I'm sitting here right in front of you, dude. Like, take it.
But you
But
are in the
but you're
middle,
actually
Juan.
no, but you're actually
Oh
like,
no.
you're actually, like-
Okay.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm just fucking with you.
You know what I mean.
I don't know that it's crazy. I guess it also relates to the Lamar Jackson news. I'm one who's been I said to you Juan multiple times. I sent it to you Kendall Royal, Threat and Michael Christian where I think that Lamar Jackson is not a very good thrower of the football. However,
That
if you
is
told me right
capital
now
R.
that like the Dolphins are gonna trade for Lamar Jackson, I'd be like, yeah, do it immediately. Don't even think
Two
about
first and a
it. Two first and
TUA.
Tua. Yeah.
Well, damn, you're brave. You said it. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it.
I mean, look,
Even 3 first and 2.
let's be real. It was a top.
God-
You're
oh,
acting like a certain
whoa.
someone who wanted to trade a second round pick for Saquon Barkley. Don't do this right now. All right, don't
Listen.
do this.
Listen, I would listen. I would send 2 first, 2 and Gesicki if I needed to for Lamar Jackson right now. Like,
I don't,
dude,
I don't know if
I'm
I would
like,
send Mike. He likes his tight ends. Well, no, but then he'd
That's,
make Durham a star.
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, that he just changes the offense. Like, could you imagine him, Tyreek, Waddle, and then Mike McDaniel's running game? Like,
It would be ridiculous.
Forget about it.
It would
Think
like
about
I'm wearing my
Hey,
Tua
defense,
jersey. You know,
just let them score less than 4 touchdowns. We're good. Like,
I I love Tua, but after hearing it's up to Lamar for the contracts, man, I don't know, bro. Fuck it, send it in. Just send it
that's what I'm
in.
saying,
Bring him
dude.
Bring
He
him home.
requests a trade. Look.
Hey, Lamar, come slide down south. You already know you good down here. Like
Except for
you,
when you play the Dolphins last year, but
well, you wouldn't be playing the Dolphins if he's on the Dolphins. So
yeah, we'd have the blueprint on how to beat him, so we'd be able to make him better.
I think I think the blueprint went to Pittsburgh, but I guess that's another topic for another day.
I guess it is. Damn, that threw me off. We went into like a different conversation that threw me completely off of a question that I was gonna ask. Luke, you sent 3 first for Lamar Jackson? Fuck yeah, I guess I'll just stay on the topic.
Hell yeah.
Immediately,
Fuck
no
yeah.
questions
I'm saying
asked.
3 first. 3 first, 2 Gesicki. Send that shit in.
What about Kyler?
That's a lot. I'm not sure
For Kyler, no.
You know
No,
my thoughts
I'm
on
not, I'm not
Kyler.
doing that.
That's a
I'm not doing that.
negative.
I don't. I like Kyler, but I have my questions about him.
What are your questions? Mine is maturity, but like, what are your questions?
Oh, if that's the only question, Kai, I'm
think-
sorry. I'm sending it before I'm sending it for Lamar.
I mean, I think maturity is one, but I mean,
I'm gonna find
I'm
this
not
clip.
I'm not one to necessarily, you know, be super concerned about height with quarterbacks, but he is like fucking 5'8". I mean, he's like really small.
Could you imagine like we would have like the smallest like quarterback wide receiver combination I think in league history. Like we would literally be like the little Giants, but like the little
especially if we trade away DVP, and I mean you have like no size whatsoever there.
Hell, we trade Waddle, like that's it. Like we're like an old line and like 13-year-olds like at this point, like. And I say that respectfully because Tyree's rocked up, bro. Like I swear to God, like
Listen,
he is.
I'm not trying to play any, video by the Dan Patrick Show to get us copyright strike. But you see, this is 4 minutes and 36 seconds. You know why? Because per the title, he literally went on the Dan Patrick Show and didn't answer a single question about football or baseball. I saw that interview and I immediately said, all right, I'm good. Kyler Murray, would never want to touch my Miami Dolphins. I just can't.
I'm gonna now. I'm curious. I'm gonna want to watch it.
It's the same thing with
Yeah,
Rondale Moore had an interview with Pat and his show last year. It was like 1 minute and 30 seconds. After that, I was like, nope, can't do it.
I'm not one to be that turned off by like pre-draft interviews though. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you're selling yourself to.
I don't think so either. I think it's just certain interviews where I guess just reading the demeanor of players and thinking to myself, I can't. Like the Kyler one, that was one where for sure I was like, this guy is just a cocky ass. He's never going to lead a team to a Super Bowl. And like, I will stand firm on that.
I will say that Tom Brady is probably the biggest asshole on a football field.
And Tom Brady has done everything to prove it.
That's fair. I'm just saying that in general, though, assholes aren't rewarded in the media.
But who do you think is a leader? Doesn't matter if he's an asshole. He's a leader. Tom Brady announced that he was coming back to football, and quite literally every single free agent that they had that was extremely important was back when they were rumored to be out, sayonara, gone. Leonard Fournette was probably going to go to the Patriots. Jensen was gone. They signed Godwin to his 3-year deal, which didn't seem like that was going to happen.
We're gonna act like they didn't get him Hopkins. Like he hasn't had Larry Fitzgerald, who's been a Hall of Famer, just like off field. Huh?
What did he do without Hopkins?
Didn't he just make it to the playoffs?
I mean, him and the entire offense broke down. Not trying to shout good for Chase Edmonds, but
but I'm saying in the playoffs, though, right?
I mean, yeah.
Well, second half of the season.
Yeah, as soon as Hopkins was gone, that entire offense went to shit. They didn't do anything. Brady made Julian Edelman and Wes Welker.
Did you see the contract Christian Kirk just got?
Yeah, because people, for whatever reason, think that Christian Kirk... Well, first of all, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. We signed Donnell Ellerbe, and there was another fucking linebacker, I can't remember, to massive deals after a Super Bowl. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Don't... There's always a counter-argument to that. look at Kyler Murray and I just don't see like an actual leader. Like Lamar, you know that people are rocking with Lamar. Whether no matter what you think about it, you get Lamar and people are riding with Lamar. I don't know about Kyler.
That's fair. I see. I can see what you're saying. I think though that when it comes ultimately like on the field for like just playing football, um, guys are gonna rock with who's the more talented guy. As much as I love Lamar, Kyler is just as good as runner, if not sometimes better.
I think he's a better thrower.
And it's not even close when it comes to throwing.
Yeah.
So to me, I just think it's like if I have the choice of either one, I'm probably going Kyler.
Anyway,
I think Lamar.
Yeah, Luke, I was gonna throw it to you as just because I know we cut you off again.
No, it's just I think Lamar was handicapped though at times by Greg Roman. I don't I mean it's just Roman's lack of adjustments throughout the season and throughout games doesn't bode well at all for Lamar. I feel like Lamar can't reach his full potential. I mean also that Baltimore really hasn't done enough with that wide receiver room to really support him. Like
imagine them getting Odell.
But wait, I mean it's not that they haven't tried though. I mean they just have picked horribly. Like
they tried.
I was about to say, how do you feel about Marquise Brown? It seemed like originally he was trending up.
They drafted somebody last year too. Who did they get?
Duvernay? No, that wasn't a draft pick.
No, Duvernay's another one too, but no, it was last year. It was a wide receiver for Rashard Bateman from Minnesota.
And he's good. Rashard Bateman's good.
Exactly. So they've tried, last year, Mark Andrews arguably number one tight end. They got beat the fuck up. I was seeing like some stat that they put up.
He's set in stone, number one tight end last year.
No, there's an argument. There's.
Anyways, continue.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We'll agree to disagree.
Like always.
But I think honestly, like, I think Lamar is a limited player. I think Greg Norman has shown in the past with Kaepernick that he's kind of built to make these offenses to start, but then like a year or two into it, they do kind of start to like sputter and not really progress, and it's because teams start to adjust. Until he could kind of prove like, and this is more on like Kai, but like not to his level, until he could prove that he can like consistently kill people in the pocket, like a team like Miami with two flexible safeties like Javon and Brandon Jones, like they're gonna sit there and just run cover zero all game and say, well, Lamar beat us, like, and until he does, like, that's a problem. Like you saw with Kyler against us, like, yeah, like we had that fumble return for a touchdown off cover zero, but like that he beat us with with Christian Kirk of all people on one of those on Byron Jones. So we've seen it.
Yeah, that's the game that Tua stands go back to every single time that you get asked about anything. Tua,
the one they hold Arizona with all their heart.
It was a hell of a game. I'll never forget the
just
high
like
coming
just
off
like
of that
I
game,
hold
man.
on to the Tennessee game and the Buffalo game.
Yeah, Tua stands. They hold on to Arizona. There's another game in there. There's two games.
Carolina.
I don't know. The Carolina.
If you rewatch that Carolina game, I trust me because I said the same thing after the game. I thought that was his best game ever as a pro.
Yeah.
He was.
I haven't rewatched it personally.
He was off on a lot of throws that he completed, but like his accuracy to the level that we've known he could get to was not there.
I feel the same about the Giants game. I thought that was a very
same. Like all those games, like I think post bye was just like a downhill, like kind of slow for him.
Really quick before we get into the recent comments from the owners meeting, just to read this off and then see what you guys think. The words from Steve Biscotti was contractual matters are unique as hell with Lamar Jackson. Quote, unless he has a change of heart and calls general manager Eric DaCosta and says, quote, I'm ready. Eric can't keep calling him and saying, you really need to get in here. That's not a GM's job. End of quote from Biscotti. said he's obsessed with a Super Bowl, and I think that deep down he doesn't think he's worthy. I think he wants to say, quote, now I deserve to be on top, end quote.
That's such a weird, like, just.
I feel like that's such an odd
Well,
thing
no,
to
it's not.
say.
I mean, it's definitely to say like Lamar, like it's not us, it's you. Like, what are we doing? But to put that pressure on him, I don't know if that's smart. Um, just because like you want to make him comfortable to the point where it's like, bro, like we know we're gonna get this done. And I think he said it too. Like if you read like the full thing, he talks about how he feels like Lamar's the type of player where he doesn't think that he's earned it yet, and that he knows he's gonna eventually get it. So he just wants to, win first. Um, but I don't even think he has an agent too. Whether you think that's good or bad, if you're like Richard
It's his
Sherman or
mom's his
whatever.
agent, right?
I think he's
Really?
his own agent. I thought it was.
Let me search it up.
Um, so that's another kind of like little,
Yeah, he's his
like,
own agent.
yeah, it's a little. I don't want to say obstacles. You know, he could be great at it, but it's another kind of like thing that they have to work through as well.
I think it doesn't help that the alleged person on the quarterback number 4 of the Cleveland Browns also just got a $230 million guarantee contract. I think that doesn't help the Ravens case.
Well, I think the Ravens GM alluded to that specifically and said that he doesn't think that them fully guaranteeing the deal was great because now everybody else is kind of looking around like, bro, like that situation, you guaranteed that, like, like, you're not gonna tell me no, like Lamar Jackson MVP, clean fucking like everything, like
I'm
no.
I'm so just to last comment, and then I'll throw something to Luke about the owners meeting stuff. I am so for not counting quarterbacks towards the salary cap and just giving them a 50 mil cap a year. Look,
Well, he said 60.
I'm down for 50. 50,
But Scotty said
50 a
that
year
Lamar's
cap.
the type of player that would bet on himself, do the option, take the franchise, and then after that, will ask for 60 mil guaranteed a year and get it.
I just abolish the cap for quarterbacks. Give it a 50 mil a year limit. You can sign as many years as you want, but it's 50 a year. Fuck it. Like at that point, the cap is gonna rise, and numbers for certain players are gonna rise themselves. And I know it's a challenge, but I am team just abolish it. If a team can't get it done from there, then that's their own problem. Anyways, with the owners meetings, Luke, Mike McDaniel said, as we were talking about QB controversy, Teddy Bridgewater should shut the fuck up, essentially. But not those words exactly. Just kind of saying Teddy knows what his role is and that Tua is a quarterback, and said, I believe the exact quote was, you guys didn't know it at the time, but when he was describing a backup quarterback, he was describing exactly Teddy Bridgewater. People tried causing a stink about it. You still have certain reporters still trying to do stuff with it. We won't name names for certain things just because I feel like we do have some respectful relationship with them. How do you feel about Mike McDaniel going out and outright saying, no, Tua is the starter compared to what we've been dealing with for the past 2 seasons?
I mean, I'm cool with it just because, I mean, I think everyone kind of assumed that. And with Mike McDaniel just saying it, it just kind of puts it in stone. McDaniel said before free agency that he wanted a veteran backup quarterback, and he went out and Chris Greer went out and signed one for how much they signed Teddy for? 8 mil, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 1 year. I'll get the exact numbers for you, but I think it's 1 year, 8 mil, with a certain amount guaranteed, and then incentive based things put into the contract. But I'll get it for you right now.
Yeah, so I mean, I think some people were caught off guard by Teddy's comments. Not really sure why. I don't think Teddy said anything that necessarily made him seem like he thought of himself as a starter. Um, I don't know. I think Teddy was brought in as the backup. Teddy knew that coming in that he was brought in as the backup. His comments didn't portray him as something else. And I'm fine with I'm fine with Mike McDaniel coming out right and saying that. I don't think there's any necessary competitive advantage that's gained through letting a possible quarterback competition linger through the remainder of the offseason and into camp and stuff like that. I don't think there's any point of that.
So just to confirm, Teddy Bridgewater signed a 1 year, $6.5 million fully guaranteed deal. He does have $3.5 million put in there as well for incentive base. So you could essentially say a 1 year, $10 million contract if he hits his incentives, which probably not. But you never know in the NFL, and I guess you definitely don't know compared to what we've been dealing with Tua. And I think that's a good throw for you, Juan. He is a solid backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. He is the type of guy that you want to, he's going to be comfortable. Living in Miami, this is his hometown, being back home, and then trying to help, I guess, the next generation in Tua. Obviously, there's a competitiveness that's there. You get that with every player. It doesn't matter who it is. I mean, hell, Ryan Fitzpatrick was barely able to push the ball down the field, and he was still bitching and moaning live on television and with reporters. How do you feel with the shutdown? Obviously, you're one along with Kendall and Threat, who are definitely big on Team Mitch Trubisky. That didn't happen for you, but Teddy Bridgewater is now here. You are also one that believes that he might have to start some games this season. So how do you feel about him being in place and being the backup for Tua Tagovailoa?
I don't necessarily think Mike McDaniels was describing Teddy Bridgewater as if he was saying. Um, I think that if he wanted just a guy who was just going to strictly mentor Tua, there might have been a better option. I think there is obviously, like you said, I think there is a need for a guy who can play games. Just because I can see the point of view where somebody could say, well, 2021 wasn't really Tua's fault. It was Jacoby Brissett who lost us that season. And because of Jacoby, we didn't make the playoffs. So I could see the argument to paying Teddy $8 million a year with the plan of like, hey, bro, you might go in there 4 games, you might go in there 0 games, you might go in there 10 games. Like, we really don't know. And we kind of just need you to be a pro and be ready. Teddy's not that threatening as a Mitch or as a Mariota, in my opinion. He's, like, he's only going to really get a shot if Tua gives it to him. I say that lightly because if he gets hurt, it might not be his fault or it might be his fault. I don't know. I just think that with Teddy, though, we are going to get somebody who theoretically is a pro, right? Like, we thought we had that last year with Jacoby, where we kind of felt like, okay, if we miss some times, like, Jacoby could handle himself. I think I don't think it's fool's gold to say we're actually feeling that with Teddy, and it's real, because I think Teddy at different instances has shown that at bare minimum he could be an average starter. Like,
And
give him
he's
two,
definitely
three
better than
games.
Jacoby.
Yeah, give him 2, 3 games and he'll hold himself, right? Like, he won't be the reason you lose, but he's definitely not gonna be the reason you win either. Whereas Jacoby is like, he definitely wasn't the reason you won, and damn near the reason you lost was because of him. So it's a drastic difference. And like I said, I do think at some point we are going to see him play.
Luke, I think you wanted to chime in there a little bit.
Well, you cut off, man. What'd you say?
Did you want to chime in there a little bit or no?
I mean, you mentioned a good point, Juan, with given Tua's injury concerns. Uh, Teddy will probably have to play at some point this season. It seems likely at this point, and I think that's why his contract is so incentive based. And I feel confident with Teddy there as the potential starter if Tua goes down rather than Jacoby Brissett. Teddy has proven to be playable at numerous locations. He's done so at Minnesota. He's done so in Denver. He did so in Carolina. I completely forgot he played there for a second. But I mean, he's shown that at best he's average, and at worst he's simply just any old backup quarterback. And I feel confident with the whole backup quarterback situation heading into the season. But I don't really get the whole point that some people are trying to make, that this is going to be a quarterback competition, and it just doesn't make any sense. Mike McDaniel has praised Tua so much in his time here, and it seems like McDaniel really wants to work closely with Tua, and he's someone that has a lot of confidence in him. and to let a quarterback competition linger throughout the offseason is just hypocritical for Mike McDaniel to do that.
Is it refreshing? I mean, it was kind of a loaded question there, but it's gotta feel refreshing, the fact that you finally have clarity rather than just we'll know what we're day by day.
I think the transparency of everything is refreshing. I mean, just the Belichick way is obviously everything is competitive advantage, and everything has to be taken in that way.
Everything is fucking nuclear codes.
Yeah, which is simply not. I mean, Brian Flores would say no comment on the most trivial of things, and
they would ask him, "Do you think it's gonna rain tomorrow?" And he would say,
we're taking it day by day.
Day by day.
Look, I love B-Flow, but I don't know, man.
I like B. I mean, I like B-Flow, but just from a media point of view, it's so refreshing with Mike McDaniel. It's night and day, and just to go back with Tua, it's definitely refreshing that the whole Deshaun Watson and the whole Tua is our quarterback week in, week out thing, that ordeal is finally fucking over, and that there is a sense of clarity and a sense of clearness within the quarterback room.
Listen, Luke, I can tell you right now, Tua is our quarterback. That's it. I can tell you that right now he's our quarterback. I'm not going to tell you
at this moment.
At this moment at 11:39
tomorrow
p.m.
It might be different.
Yeah, tomorrow it could be different.
Tomorrow it might get Brady.
But right now.
But Kai, I mean,
Juan, what'd you say? You said tomorrow might be Brady?
Huh?
You said tomorrow might be Brady?
Did I say that?
I mean, I'm just double checking.
I think you're projecting, bro. If you want to come out and think that's what, say what you think, I mean.
Is that the one?
I hope so.
Hey.
Listen, if you tell me tomorrow we woke up with Tom Brady, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and Gesicki on the same team.
Wait, if we woke up with what?
Tomorrow.
If we woke up with
Brady, Waddle, Tyreek, Gesicki, Xavier, Javon, JP, Teron Arms, Mike McDaniel, the Water Boy, janitors.
Hey.
No, you're not gonna give love to the janitors?
There we go.
All right.
Listen, this is. I mean, I do think that is very refreshing. I think everything's great. To round it off here, just because we've been going for almost an hour. He also addressed Devontae Parker. Louis D. Sung might finally get his wish, and Devontae Parker could be traded off the team.
He's gone.
I would love to keep him. I think his contract is ridiculously team friendly, and for the amount of games he could give us a season, that would be very beneficial for our team, regardless on if we have Tyreek, Cedric, and others like Jalen Waddle coming in. Although we lose Mac Hollins, which is the biggest defeat to our entire team. He also mentioned that they're working on some contract with Xavier, and hopefully that gets done. He quotes on to say, I had it up here a little bit earlier from a Barry Jackson article that you could find on the Miami Herald, and thank God not through a paywall. Something along he was my second draft pick. Oh, here we go. Xavier has done a lot of good things here for the organization for years. We drafted him, quote, my second draft pick here. We are looking forward to him being here and helping us win, end quote. So there's talk about that. Barry talks about how he reported that the Eagles, Green Bay, and Indianapolis are interested in a Devontae Parker trade. I would say if we're going to trade Devontae Parker and the Colts are interested, might as well trade him to the Colts. They're going to give up a first-round pick for Carson Wentz. We might get a first for Devontae Parker. Think about it. Everything there is running in bizarre land.
Yeah, I just think what I had understood and I had seen was that they're asking for proven talent. They're not asking for draft picks because I don't think it's smart.
But what are you gonna get for Devontae Parker and proven talent? Like, let's say those are the teams.
A center. a center. You can go and get a solid center. Let's say the Saints want. Well, no, he's not gonna go over there and play
No,
with Slam Boy.
no.
Um, but I would have to
From
really
those
look
teams,
into it.
like if you're looking at Green Bay, you're looking at the Colts, and you're looking at the Eagles. With the Eagles,
Green
maybe you get
Bay,
Landon Dickerson. I think he's there. He's been playing. He played guard last year, though. I think in his rookie season.
Green Bay, I might say. Listen, Kai. I mean, if you want me to play Madden, I'm sending Devontae
No,
in
no.
like a
I want you to
third
play
for AJ Dillon.
realistic. That's not gonna happen. But that would be that would be.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're really getting spiffy with it, like, hey, look, we need a proven player. AJ Dillon is kind of just sitting there behind, Aaron Jones. You lost Devontae. Is it really gonna be Amari Rogers and fucking Randall Cobb for for Aaron Rodgers? Like, no, like, come on, like, or like,
And
you
don't
know,
forget about
like,
Big Bob Tunyon.
okay, but like, again, let's get crazy with it. Like, hey, Green Bay, you don't think Gesicki would be a weapon for Rodgers? Like, Gesicki for Dylan? Like,
What if you have to throw a second next year in for that? Like, let's say it's Devontae Parker, a second in 2023 for AJ Dillon, and a fifth in 2022.
easy. Wouldn't even consider it. I would send it.
Luke,
I know. That's a lot for it. I mean, AJ Dillon's a good player. He's a good player, but that's a lot.
what's your
I'm
limit
good.
on pick capital then?
Pick
Like,
capital.
in terms of like, obviously, if you do that trade, they're gonna ask for a pick. What is your limit on a pick
Yeah.
there?
Uh, I'll start off with DBP in a fourth, and you can probably convince me to send a third.
What if they?
No, I'm not sending a second.
What if they ask you for a similar situation with the Colts and the Eagles, where they say, okay, well, it's going to be a third if he plays 75% of the snaps, and it's going to be a second.
I'm doing that 10 times out of 10. And in this draft class, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you can get a potential, and you said 75% of the snaps, which we'll see. But I mean, if you can get a fucking second for Devontae Parker with the depth you have at receiver, and
Oh
with
no,
this
I'm
draft
saying
class, which
I'm
is
saying you're saying that, like, you're saying, or excuse me, I'm saying that you're sending that to the Packers, where the Packers are saying, okay,
You're
Wait,
sending
we're
Devontae
sending
in a conditional
Devontae and a
third.
conditional third for AJ Dillon, and let's say a fourth.
okay.
But if AJ Dillon
Oh,
plays
if you throw in a
75% of the
fourth.
snaps, then that third becomes a second. Which, when you
Because
think about it,
mentioned
like,
throwing in a fourth. Yeah, I mean, because they'd be throwing in a fourth because it's conditional. Uh, Scheme fit wise, AJ Dillon probably makes sense. I would do it. Fuck it. Why not?
you're
Send it.
a stickler for picks.
I wouldn't say a stickler, but I mean, I understand the value of them. I appreciate the value of them.
What
Put it
value?
Like,
that
on
way.
the less Sneed fuck the pick spectrum, are you like Chris Greer 2019-2020 or Chris Greer 2022?
I am. It depends on where my roster's at. I
No,
guess I'm more
literally
fuck the picks.
this roster. Like, how would you be for
Yeah.
this Miami Dolphins?
Well, I mean, just given you already have a running back room with Edmonds and Mostert, I'm not
Two
that
guys with
overly
injury
concerned with the running
history.
back room. Two guys with injury history, but at the same time, and it's like you're still putting a lot of money and then draft capital into the running back room. I don't know.
But
I
isn't
mean,
that what
that's
we've been pounding the table for, Luke? Isn't that what we've been begging for years
But-
at this point?
Shit, AJ Dillon 2 years ago would have been nice.
AJ Dillon this
but
year would have
we
been
saying,
a miracle.
are we saying fuck
You're
those
not
picks
arguing
though
with me,
for
Kai. I'm sending a
running
second
backs?
and Devontae, and I'm not even asking for conditional anything. Like, to me, a second round player could be Mike Gesicki, or it could be Robert Hunt. Like, I'm sorry, like,
Robert Hunt's
I
a
don't.
solid player.
You know what? Let's touch that topic. Mike McDaniel in his press conference named absolutely nobody besides for Teron Armstead as a starter, as a locked-in starter.
As he should.
Well, if you ask the Twitter streets, Robert Hunt was a future Hall of Famer the last 5 games at the right guard.
They'd
So,
also tell you that Robert Jones went in and well, okay, actually, this is true that he did play better than Jesse Davis did the last game,
but
than Jesse
me or you
Davis did
could have been
all
played.
year.
Me
But
and
they
you
were
could have played
also,
better. Yeah, better than Jesse Davis. But no, I just found it interesting because I thought to me, you had at least before Armstead one penciled in starter, like at right guard with Hunt. But now that Armstead is here, I feel like we took a step back and it's like, yeah, no, we have no penciled in starters. It's like free reign. Everybody has a shot to win a job, which I like, by the way. I'm not knocking
it's a
it.
solid
I
fucking
just found it
offensive line
interesting.
now.
Yeah.
Like I think that if they don't go out there and get Teron, it's a lot of questions. I think Connor Williams showed a lot of promise besides the holding last year. I think last year he had a problem with holding, but I mean, shit, man, you're putting him up there with Teron, and you have a leader in that locker room now, especially for the offensive line grouping with Teron. I think that's a perfect fit. If they can go out there and get a center, that's cool. If not, if they're fine with Michael Dieter, I think I'm also solid with that. But if they go out there and the starting line on opening day is Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, Michael Dieter, Robert Hunt, and let's say Austin Jackson, they throw there at right tackle, I think I'm pretty fine with that. Like, I think I'm in there thinking, all right, at least there's some promise.
I'm very curious how Austin Jackson is able to develop under Mike McDaniel and under Frank Smith. Because there's like what, he's only 22, right?
Yeah,
He's
he's young.
he was the
Him and
yeah,
Noah.
I think it was I think Noah.
They were the two
I
youngest
don't know
players
about
picked in
Noah.
that draft. Noah was the youngest,
Yeah,
and I think Austin was somewhere but they were two of the youngest.
but yeah, I mean Austin Jackson through his first 2 years, coaching wise, I mean he wasn't given much, and even in his rookie season, he showed promise.
Until he
Playing
got
in a
hurt,
scheme
which
that
sucked.
until he got hurt, and then he's been forced to play in a scheme that doesn't really match his skill set. I mean, at USC, he ran a pretty similar zone scheme that Mike McDaniel will be implementing in Miami. So I think the case for Austin Jackson is still out. I don't think he's a lost prospect. He's still really young. What I feel confident with him being penciled in as the starter at right tackle, no, but I think there's a lot of promise there, and I think that he's shown some glimpses of potential, more so in his rookie season, to be a quality tackle in this league.
I definitely don't think that you go out there feeling like confident, but I would feel as a whole for the offensive line way more confident seeing that than any offensive line we trotted out onto the field last year.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, for sure. I mean, I think at the very worst, you're sending out a below average offensive line, which
Yeah, middle of the
I
pack,
would have
in between 10 and 20, middle of the pack.
I would have killed for the fucking 22nd best offensive line this past season.
Yeah.
Like
Tua would have. Hey, listen, I'm not trying to get us into any trouble, but someone who definitely had a hit out on Tua has now signed with the Minnesota Vikings, so it is free game. That dude literally.
Patrick Peterson?
No.
what are we talking about?
Jesse Davis.
Oh.
Listen, bro, he had a hit out on
That
Tua
was real?
Tagovailoa, man. That is real.
I thought he was going to like the USFL or no.
You know, remember when Jesse Davis was like average? And like I remember when he got his contract extension, I think everyone was like, that's a good extension. And now it's like, goddamn, what the fuck?
Like, all right, if we want to have a legit conversation about Jesse Davis, look, if he's your 5th worst guy and you have average around him, he doesn't look that bad.
I'd say even if he's your 3rd, like he was not like when he was playing guard, he was not bad.
If at worst he was your 5th worst offensive lineman, but you had average to good offensive lineman around him, doesn't look that bad. But when he's like your like 3rd worst offensive line, and the other two are like aides, respectfully, like
Liam and Austin, what we saw last year. Let's just be straight up.
Like it's just like historically bad. It just it makes the whole offensive line look that much worse, and obviously it makes Jesse Davis look like he had like a personal vendetta. Like I really don't know.
He had a hit. He absolutely had a hit. Because this
He
is
might have.
like Jesse
He might
Davis
have.
last year, and I guess Jesse Davis's entire career with the Dolphins was just pretty much
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
like that's just what it was. Like that's what it was.
I respectfully could not name you a good Jesse Davis game.
There were some.
There might have been games where like I
solid
just didn't
games
notice
where he was
him.
at guard.
I didn't notice him, and yes, that is a solid game. But like to say it's like yo Jesse Davis go handler Chandler Jones, like nah, Papa, like
We're about to say like whoever, whether they line up Vaughn, you know, to go against Tehran, or they line up Vaughn to go against Austin. We're about to say, all right, go do a Vaughn.
Oh no, like Tehran's gonna earn his money this year. Like he is going to live on an island. He will be by himself. There will be no chips, no tight ends. There's gonna be nothing for him. He's gonna be
What a fucking
one on
contract, by the
one.
way.
Go shut that down. We need to double team everybody else. Like we can't. Like there's nothing.
But are we concerned at all about Tehran's past injury concerns, given how much?
Stop the cap.
Luke, come on, bro. Like we worry about that when we get there and we're slitting our wrists.
We,
like,
I know.
Luke, have you
I
not
know,
learned being
just-
a part of 5 Reasons Sports? We judge in the moment. We don't look anywhere further. I get
Facts.
shit on for
narratives
that. I'm
change
positive
daily, Luke. Daily.
hourly. The fuck are you talking about? Daily.
By the minute.
I get
Ryan
shit
Flores
on just for
appreciate
being
that.
patience
Daily,
trained.
bro.
Unless it's a Herbert or Burrow narrative, that one lives forever.
Oh, Luke, you are
And Jamar
so
Chase.
fucking lucky you were never in the chat for all of that. You
Yeah,
would
it
have
was
lost your
hell.
mind.
I'm not
Oh,
gonna lie.
God.
I go back and think about it. I'm like, yo,
Yeah, you were insufferable. Now you realize
yeah,
it.
I really was. And even before that one, there was like the period with DW before we found out everything, and that one was bad too. So, yeah, no, you missed out on some fun, bro.
Yeah, I would.
I missed out on some fun conversations.
Oh, the
Interesting.
the funnest.
Maybe interesting, but definitely not fun. All right. Listen, you guys know the struggle that I went through just to be able to record all this for us. I'm not cutting anybody off. My hands off. Royal's not here, so no one can end a sentence. Do any of you guys have anything to say? Hands in the air,
Jalen Waddle,
bro.
wide receiver 2. I'm
Marcus
still
Dickey
worried. I
Ferris
don't
seven.
know.
Dude, my hand's in the air, and Royal isn't here, so he can't fucking do it.
Most explosive wide receiver duo in the NFL by far.
Juan?
Just don't fuck it up the defense. Like just be average, bro. Like that's all we need you to be. Just be what you were last year. Not even like the last 7 games, not even the first 7 games. Like just in the middle. That's all we need.
With that being said, that is the end of the extra yard. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It was obviously a little bit different than what we've normally done. I want to thank Luke, for coming on and for attempting to find something in his godforsaken school that isn't the best school in the state of Florida. But, you know, it is what it is. Also, Luke, sorry. Like, with Michael being gone and you being the next person up there with the love for the University of Miami, I just got to shit on somebody for it. So,
Yeah, you're gonna take a lot of strays from Kai throughout the year.
yeah, it is what it is. So,
Hey, that's
you were going to say something.
no. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.